Oh, I was on mute the entire time. I'm sorry. I just gave a brilliant speech, all for nothing. Hi everyone. Welcome to Chalchitra Talks. मेरा नाम वाणी है. And thank you for joining, guys. You know the drill. Please like the video so that more people get recommended and more people are able to join us in the stream. And I will try to summarize what I mentioned right now. You know what? The initial few minutes are the minutes where you actually prepare a lot and you're like, hey, once I get it right, the flow will come in. And when they go wrong, it's like, oh shit, I'll have to do that again. Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to Chalchitra Talks. मेरा नाम वाणी है. And so we've been doing Thursday streams for over a year now, and I love what we do in the streams. We do reading sessions and it's always fun, but for the past few months I've been feeling that there is more that I should bring to the Thursday streams and not just read a chapter with you guys, which I think gets boring for some people as well. But I've been thinking about this particular series for a long time now, Reccos From The Room. We do Reccos From The Hills, which is my favorite series of all time. Not that I've done a lot of series, but Reccos From The Hills is something that I really love, and I really wanted to do a Reccos From The Room when I'm not doing Reccos From The Hills. So I thought each week, and if it goes well, I'd pick up a word and we can look for recommendations related to that word. And this week, I thought I'd do a segment on anxiety, because anxiety is one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I hope you guys can hear me now. Can anyone please confirm? There were so many people telling me there's no audio, and there's nobody who's telling me that there's an audio now. Okay. I'll just meanwhile address everyone who's here. Hi everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. But Vinayak is here. Hi Vinayak. So I was going live, and before that I posted in the core team, the group that we have on WhatsApp. I was like, hey guys, I'm doing this segment on anxiety, and what are your recommendations for it? And there were such wonderful recommendations that I'll share with you at the end of this stream. But yeah, so anxiety is one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I've been reading about it a lot, and I think I've struggled with it as well. I am no psychiatrist or psychologist, so of course my recommendations should not, I will not be able to tell you how to cope with anxiety, etc., etc. The best I can do is share what I do with you guys. I also did a quick Q&A on Instagram about an hour ago. I asked people who are connected with me on Instagram what their recommendations are when it comes to dealing with anxiety, and some of them were really nice. I liked how some people deal with anxiety the way I do. They just sleep on it, and then sometimes it just turns out well. But of course, so because I do not have, I'm not the expert at it, so I just want to give a disclaimer that it's not the final word. What works for me might not work for you at all, and what works for you might be something that doesn't work for me. So I hope that disclaimer is clear and all set with you. So I think we can start, and while we're doing this, while I'm addressing all of this, if you guys have any recommendations that you would like to share, please do so in the comments. And if any of the mods are watching, guys, whenever a recommendation comes up, and feel free to share the links as well. Pokraj is here. Hi Pokraj. Wait, you're not going to be a true Indian and give gyan for no apparent reason. Shocking. I'm not sure if I understand the comment. But I'm slightly nervous because mental health, etc., is a very sensitive topic, and I do not want to give statements that might be taken for a final true word. But I nonetheless want to share my struggle, etc., and my recommendations with you when it comes to anxiety. And I'll take a moment to breathe. But yes, how is everyone doing until then? I'm just waiting for one mod or somebody to comment on the title and just give me the confirmation that everyone can hear me, because the only thing that I can read in the comments is audible, hello, that's it. Hey, the background, hey, thanks, Deval. I really, thank you. I walk when I'm anxious. My mind shuts down on the streets and just the survival instinct kicks in. I walk a lot when I'm anxious as well. Yeah. But I've made a whole list of things. I don't think you guys can see it. I'm so out of context for Vaani. I love it. Okay. Hey, gardening is nice. What do you guys do when you feel anxious? This is a wonderful question that I'd like to ask everyone. This is not a wonderful question. I would ask it to you anyway, because I am interested in knowing what you guys do when you feel anxious. So I posted on Instagram and a lot of people said, hey, therapy really helped me. My medication has helped me a lot. There was someone who said, venting out really helps. I remember who said what, but I do not know if I can share the names, and people will be comfortable in sharing the names. There was someone who said, I just sleep through it. Someone said, I read Anxious People and it really helped. So I'm kind of really eager to read Anxious People now. I watch YouTube and listen to songs. Nice. There are people who play games. Natsu plays games. Completed writing 6 chapters in my novel. Spoke to my bestie after a long time. Nice. Divya goes for a swim. How many? Okay, they will. Walking helps. Sakshi says, I watch Schitt's Creek. I'll be honest, I did not know what TV shows to recommend, because the only recommendation I had was Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Schitt's Creek and all the animated DC comics, etc. They were cleaning. Oh, I clean aggressively. I'm an aggressive cleaner. If I'm anxious, if there is something that's wrong with me, I'll clean. And which is nice if you think about it. I clean switchboards. Nice. So recently I've picked up the ukulele. I picked up the uke, and I think it's really helping. I play terribly. My sibling actually happens to play it better than me, and I'm trying to learn from him. Whenever he's home or whenever we are on call, I just ask him tips and tricks. I still do not make any sense, but I think playing a musical instrument helps a lot. And I think just things that force you to slow down. And I watch car repair videos. Oh, you know what? I do not know if I was on mute when I said it, but I posted in the core team today that I'm going to do a stream related or around this. So if you have any recommendations, please recommend. And Samraj, Vinayak, everyone pitched in with such wonderful recommendations, and I'm going to share those with you at the end of the stream. Hey, okay. Anxious People was one of the books that I picked up when I was feeling anxious a few months back. This is Shivangi. Do not know if it's the right book or not, but it's a really nice and fun read. Yeah, there were quite a few people. There were at least 2 to 3 people who recommended me Anxious People when I posted this question on Instagram, which is very interesting, but I do not know if it's the apt recommendation for it. Hey Pokraj, I know it's but you know what, the joy of playing the uke is nice. I mean, there's one such thing that you can do well. I think there's some pleasure there. But anyway, so I'll start with movies. The movies that I really love to watch when I'm feeling anxious and I'm not able to get out of bed. One is Little Miss Sunshine. Now, everyone has a different reason for recommending their favorite movies or having a movie that helps them deal with a certain thing. For me, Little Miss Sunshine is one such movie because I think I saw it with my sibling and my family, and I just thought it was such a wonderful, wonderful take on not only mental health but also how families function, how even the people who do not perhaps fit together come along so well if in a family setup. And I think Little Miss Sunshine for me kind of gave me that hope and spark in life where even if things go wrong, you know there's one person you can rely on, and that is such an important thing to have. I don't know why I'm fumbling. I think I'm very anxious discussing this topic because I think this is something we don't talk about openly. I'm happy you derive joy from the yoke. I would suggest Tumhari Sulu. Hey, yes, I can rewatch a movie. Deep breathing, grounding techniques, talking, and sun exposure. Yeah, I think I talk a lot when I'm alone in my room. And there's a recommendation I haven't added in my list, but I'm going to share it with you nonetheless. So it'll take time to open. But anyway, the second movie that I have seen recently, I think recent movies for me mean movies that I've seen in the last 1 year. And I think I saw this movie, The Third Star. I'll just confirm the name. Yes. So the second movie that I want to recommend is The Third Star, which stars Benedict Cumberbatch. That's how I was sold to watch this movie. And it's a brilliant movie about 4 friends. One of them is dying, and his last wish is that these 3 friends of his and he make this journey on their favorite vacation spot. And it involves a lot of hike, and unfortunately, because he's dying, he doesn't have a lot of energy to walk, etc., etc. So it's about how these 4 friends come together after such a long time and make that journey. And there is something so soothing about their friendship, something so soothing about the way they portray free will, the way they talk about life, that just calms me down. It forces you to slow down and just look at things that matter eventually. And this is something that I really love. And the third recommendation that I have for you in terms of movies is Easy A. I wanted to text Vaibhav before the stream, please recommend me movies that I can share with people. But then I thought, hey, that will be sort of cheating. And if Vaibhav is watching, please share the movies that you watch in the comments below. But okay, I thought that will be cheating. So I came up with my own list, worked really hard on it. I haven't seen a lot of movies, but this third movie is one movie that I was obsessed with when I was growing up. Throughout my high school, senior secondary, etc., etc., my college life, it was Easy A. And I just read a comment that says Easy A is best. Yes, it is. The only thing I do not like about Easy A is the ending, because they get the closure for romance. But apart from that, I love how Emma Watson's character, it's not Emma Watson, I love how Emma Stone's character just deals with all the bullying and crap of high school. Not something that I had to face when I went to school, but nonetheless, it's just how she takes everything head on. And my favorite part of the movie, and I think the reason why I was sold on the movie, was not the love interest, was not how she speaks about literature, etc., etc. It was her dancing to I got a pocket full of sunshine throughout the movie. So she opens the card and says, I gotta, and I just loved that part. And I think that's just making peace with being on your own. And that really taught me how if you sing out alone when nobody is watching, you're absolutely fine and normal. And it's okay to have a little fun from time to time. So basically I was sold on Easy A because of the song I Got a Pocket Full of Sunshine, which comes in because her grandmother sends a card to her, which when opened plays the song I got a pocket full of sunshine, I gotta love that, whatever. So that is something, that's one reason why I love that movie. And I have been since then looking for a card that has the same which would do something like that of sorts. I don't know where you get such cards, and I want a card like that. But yes, that's nice. Uma shared a wonderful line with us, but anxiety can find no metaphor to end it, which is true. Anxiety by A.K. Ramanujan. Nice. But so these were my 3 recommendations in terms of movies: Little Miss Sunshine, The Third Star, and Easy A. And I think one thing that is common in all the 3 movies is how the protagonists or people around them learn to make peace with themselves. So that is something I absolutely love. Coming to TV shows, in terms of TV shows, I did not have a lot of recommendations or a wide variety of recommendations except for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Schitt's Creek, Modern Family, anything that's completely mainstream. But that's that. I just think sometimes how you deal with a lot of stuff is going for things that just scream completely opposite. One of the many reasons why I love Schitt's Creek is I love the character of Alexis, and also David, of course. Who doesn't like David? But I also love Alexis. Who doesn't like Alexis, right? Yeah, true. But I love their characters because you see the growth. And on the surface, even though it's a very funny, superficial sitcom, you see the growth they make as characters, and that touches you somewhere. And I think anything that gives you security, anything that gives you brings you joy and gives you security about anything in life, that just helps calm you down. But yes, I want to come to songs now. Oh, before I go to songs, I want to recommend videos. Now, there are 2 major videos that I want to recommend, and you can find them on YouTube as well. If the mods are watching, guys, please share the video links in the comments whenever you can. So there are these 2 videos that I always go back to whenever I'm feeling uncertain about life, whenever I'm feeling let down. There's uncertainty about future. There's a lot of panic in my head. I don't know why I thought of Panic at the Disco, but I go back to these videos every time there's uncertainty, whenever I'm feeling low, whenever there's a lot of clutter in my head. And one of the videos that I really like is Randy Pausch's Last Lecture. Now, it's also a book, of course, but when you watch the video, I saw the video after reading the book, and I can guarantee you that when you watch the video, read the book, of course, but when you watch the video, it will make you want to cry. You see, Randy Pausch actually wrote the Last Lecture. He delivered it first. He delivered his last lecture, and it's called the Last Lecture because it was a part of series. But ironically, it was also his last lecture. He had terminal cancer, and he was dying in the next 3 to 6 months. I can't remember the exact duration. And he delivered this last lecture. And when you read the book, you realize, and he tells you, this book is not about you. It's about my children. It's for my children, so that they remember who I was as an individual. And when you see the movie, you actually put a picture. You see an author. You are able to put and associate the author who's written the last lecture with that man you see on the stage. And that's why I think it intensifies your emotion. Why I go back to that book or / that lecture, especially the lecture, whenever I'm stuck, is because there's so much power in his words. Here is a man who's about to die, and he's telling you how he achieved most of the things he had in his wish list. And the beautiful, brilliant thing about that is not that he achieved everything in his wish list, but how he did so, and how he lived without any regrets. And that is able to bring so much happiness and thrill to my life. There's this amazing thing that stayed with me when I first heard the lecture and read the book. It was how his parents allowed him to paint the walls of his room with whatever he wanted. And he decided that against the door, he's going to make an upwards arrow for the lift, if I'm getting it right, like a lift. And then he decided to write down in a particular section on the wall the formula for finding roots, minus b under root of b square minus 4a. Sorry, can we cut this part later? I don't know. But yeah, so he talks about that and it's absolutely brilliant. And that's one lecture I go back to. And the second one is for David Foster. Okay, Vaibhav recommended this lecture to me, and this is Water by David Foster Wallace. And I think he gave a commencement speech at a certain college. And this speech tells you how knowledge is not the ultimate thing, and how knowledge will not be he tells you how knowledge is not going to change things, but self-awareness will. And in short, the entire speech is about how you need to change your awareness and its standard in order to live life and in order to change the world. And this is something that has stayed with me. And this is Water by Water. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I've gotten the name right. Yes. This is Water is the right name. This is Water is about the real value of real education. How it will almost always have nothing to do with your knowledge, with your degree or anything. It will be about how self-aware you are and how flexible you are in life. And yeah, that's another one. And while we're at it, the next before I head on to the music section, there's another podcast that I want to recommend. I think it's Pencils by I've spoken a lot about this podcast, and it's Pencils, and it comes on it's an episode on Boring Talks, which is a podcast by BBC. And I've spoken a lot about this, but I think I was listening to it. I had this habit of walking in the morning, and that's when I heard this podcast first. And I remember the day I heard it, I was feeling so anxious, I thought I'd throw up. And then there was something so brilliant about this podcast that just calmed me down. And I think it was the craze, and it was the idea that a certain someone exists who can talk about pencils at length and do so beautifully, as if he's telling you the most interesting fairy tale. And the way he talks about pencils in the podcast, made me so emotional. I think I had tears in my eyes by the end of the podcast. And I thought, if somebody can do that, oh my God, it's amazing. And I think for the first time in my life, I wrote to somebody instinctively. I found him on Facebook because I couldn't find him elsewhere. I think one of the many reasons why I became active in Facebook was because I was trying to find the host of the podcast. And it was just absolutely amazing. And okay, I'm saying "and" so many times. But the way he talks about pencils, about finding the right pencil at the right time, associating a certain pencil with a certain memory. And that day I learned, hey, why do I not go back to things that I associate with home, that I associate with security, that I associate with feeling calm? And that's what I started doing. And I think Pencils on Boring Talks just became my go-to episode for when I was feeling anxious, when I was feeling low on energy, when I just wanted some assurance in life, when I just wanted to feel like home. And I read this recently, and I think we've heard this so many times that it's kind of ingrained in our thought process as well, where we know home is a place where we feel secure. But we always treat people as home, we treat places as home, but we never talk about art as home. And there are certain things that just make you feel so secure, and sometimes those things are just, that could be a piece of podcast, a particular fragment of the podcast, a particular line in a book and or a song. And I think I tend to go back to things, I tend to go back to products, I tend to go back to movies, music, books, etc., just because of one particular section. There is a particular song that I really, really like, and it's called Keep Breathing. The song overall is very sad. It feels like you're okay with whatever is happening in the world. You're okay with people dying. You're okay with everything bad that's happening because you are indifferent and you're being an ostrich, which I do, but I do not want to do that. But the reason why I love that song is because of one word, keep breathing, which is a refrain. And it keeps on coming again and again and again and again. And it just brings me a lot of joy. There's a question by Shubhangi. Guys, do like the stream and let me know if you're liking this session as well, so that I know how to give it direction also. Recommend some documentaries. I don't think I have any documentaries for anxiety, but if you guys do, please recommend. Any podcasts that help you fall asleep. Hey Shubhangi. I don't have podcasts, but in case you guys do, please let me know. I'll jump to songs now, and the first song that I want to kind of talk about is Honey, It's Alright. It's by Gregory Alan Isakov, and I love Gregory Alan Isakov. There's no denying the fact how brilliant he is. I absolutely love his song She Always Takes It Back, or the one forgetting the name. I can't forget the name of the song that I absolutely love, but I did. So it's Honey, It's Alright. It's by Gregory Alan Isakov, and I mostly tend to listen to music that has lyrics in it, and I just think that's because I haven't discovered a great piece of instrumental music. But Honey, It's Alright by Gregory Alan Isakov. Honey, It's Alright by Gregory Alan Isakov. And the reason why I love that song is because there's this particular stanza there where he says, despite all our shuffling, our train record talking. That was Siri. She's been really nice friend as well. But he says, despite all our shuffling, our train record talking, despite all our outfield saves, treading water, the sea was your daughter, but now she's gone. So he says, like, despite everything you've done, you perhaps lost something that you dearly loved, but it's all right. It's all right to be alone. And I just love how he says it's all right, and that somehow really, really helps. The next song that I want to recommend is, of course, I hope all of you have heard Vienna by Billy Joel. I hope you know Vienna by Billy Joel. I love the lyrics. I mean, what's there not to like in the song? Everything is just pointing towards you, calming down, asking you to calm down, asking you to slow down because there's somebody who cares for you. Slow down, you crazy child. Why are you still so afraid? And you're so smart, and if you're so smart, so tell me why you're still afraid. And I think the questions that he asks in the song, where's the fire and what is this hurry about? And why can't you slow down if you're doing fine? You just have some courage, have some faith in yourself. And I think it's just like an elder scolding you for not slowing down. Only fools are satisfied, but it's okay. And we know you're not a fool, but there's no need to rush, right? And that is something I really like. Oh, I'll take a break to address a comment. How terrible is the noise in my mic? Is it a lot? Because I think I'm moving a lot and it's in my... Somebody has mentioned in the comments, I loved the soundtrack from Short Term 12. Okay, I love the soundtrack from Short Term 12. I love Daniel Hart. I think he's the one who's given this soundtrack for Short Term 12, right? I love Daniel Hart. The soundtrack for Short Term 12 is absolutely lovely. And I would recommend the movie as well, Short Term 12. How could I forget it? It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. And I think the reason why I like Brie Larson is not because she played Captain Marvel or because she was in The Room or any of her performances, but I love her because of Short Term 12. And I would watch it 10,000 times if I had to and listen to the soundtrack of the album a number of times. And that's why I love Daniel Hart. And speaking about Daniel Hart, I think he was the one who gave the music for Green Knight, The Green Knight, which stars Dev Patel. And I love the music of Green Knight. Absolutely wonderful. Joel P. West. So Daniel Hart gave the music for The Green Knight and Joel P. West. I'm so sorry, I confused the two. But Joel P. West is absolutely amazing as well. The next song that I wanted to talk about is there's this band called Corner Shop, if I'm not wrong. There's this band called The Corner Shop, and I have to admit I was obsessed with them, and I still am. I just am trying to work on my obsession with them. But there's this one particular song they have which is called Brimful of Asha, and it's about I think I can't put my finger on what it is about, but if I have to make a guess, it's about kids, Indian kids growing up outside, and there was a particular radio, like we have 95.3 FM, there was certain 45, and there they play the old Hindi songs which have Asha, Rafi and Kumar and everything, and it's just about, I do not know why I just like that song. And at the beginning they have a Punjabi line, which I do not know what it means, where it says Ithya Sadia Ashanu, whatever. It just goes, there's this one particular phrase, he says Sadi Rani, and I just love, I do not know why, that particular phrase just brings so much joy, and I can't stop listening to that song, and it's become a problem. But it's like there's dancing behind the movie scenes, Sadi Rani, and I just love that particular phrase. And eventually I think the songs that I'll anyway recommend are the ones that are going to bring me a lot of joy. And the next song that I really which is completely because of one particular line, and the next song that I want to recommend is Cardinals by Mount Joy. I've spoken a lot about it. Absolutely wonderful. If you still haven't heard it, I mean, I recommend it everywhere I can. I recommend it every chance I get, because it's such a beautiful song. Please listen to it if you haven't. And it's just there's this one particular paragraph where he says everything is exactly where it needs to be, and I just wanted you to know that you don't have to come clean to me. And the way it's sung out in the song gives you so much assurance, that gives me so much assurance that I just don't want to have to do with life anymore. There's no stress, because everything's exactly where it needs to be. And yes, that's the other song that I want to recommend. Then there's this song that I grew up listening to. I think I was obsessed with this song back in 2011 and 2012. And it's called Hello World by Lady Antebellum. And it's just a really nice song. And there's this one particular line that comes in towards the end of the song where the singer goes, hey, sometimes I forget what living is for, and I hear my life through my front door, and I breathe it in because I'm home again. I could be getting the lyrics wrong, by the way. Because I breathe it in. I see my wife, my little boy, my little girl. Hello world. Like, this is my world. And it's just how sometimes it just makes you appreciate the small things in life. Like, I was talking to somebody today, and I confessed how using hyphen has been giving me so much joy these days. I used to hate using hyphens, but if you talk to me on personal chat, you'll realize how much I use hyphens these days. And it just brings me genuine happiness and genuine joy. And I have no idea why. And that's what this song does for me. The next song that I actually want to recommend is Jorge Regula. It's spelled like Jorge, Regula by the Moldy Beaches. I first heard it in the movie, which I can't remember the name of. But the thing I love about the song is that there are two singers. One's the male, the other's female. The male starts singing and the female repeats the same line. And it's almost as if the person who's leading is trying to teach the other person the song. So she repeats everything that he's singing, and there is a moment in the song where he says, I am the AV guy, and she says, I'm the AV guy, and he says, I'm the AFNY guy, and she says, and he lets out this small laughter in between, like, I'm the AFNY guy, and you can imagine him laughing, and imagine him smiling or something. And then when the second person follows through, I'm the AFNY guy, you can sense them laughing. And it's the most intimate thing that kind of makes me want to forget all my worries. And that's one. The next song that I want to recommend is by Margot Gurian. I do not know how to pronounce her name. I discovered her sometime at the beginning of this year, and there was this song, Why Do I Cry? And it's such a nice song. It just sums up, sometimes you're just not in the mood for it. You do not know what's up, but you just feel low. You just want to cry, despite having a good Saturday night. It's about why do I want to cry on a Sunday morning? I had a great, lovely Saturday night. It was such a wonderful night, and I should be glad that I could spend this night with you or whatever. It's like, why do I cry? I have my coffee, and it's just so sad. Why do I want to cry? And it was such a wonderful night. I have my coffee. I have everything sorted. Why do I want to cry? And it's just nice. And I think perhaps that's why I like the song. Also, the voice of the singer is absolutely wonderful. And the next song I heard in Step Up, I do not know which Step Up it was. I've not been a big fan of Step Up ever, but like I saw this because my mother wanted to watch it when we were kids. And there was this song that was playing called Dear Life. I want to take a moment to appreciate that song. And it's just... So, if you're anyone like me, you resist change. And I think a lot of us resist change. That's the typical human nature. And what's new really brings us a lot of discomfort, so much so that it's capable of paralyzing us. And there's this line in the song Dear Life where, and it goes, hold on, dear life. Dear life has been personified. Hold on, dear life. Do not go running from what's new. I became somebody through loving you. And I just kind of repeated to myself, like, Sylvia Plath's I am. It's just, hold on, dear life. Do not go off running from what's new. I became somebody through loving you. And I just really think that's true. Embrace what you fear, and you won't fear it anymore. But yes, there's that. What about you guys? What are the songs that you absolutely love? And what are the songs that you would like to recommend? Tipton chants for lowly times bring back memories. Nice. I hold you from the clan. Nice. Why don't you guys share your favorite lyrics with me in the comments? Listen, blowing in the wind. Oh, that reminds me of a recommendation. Blowing in the Wind was there on my list, but I thought everyone has heard of it anyway, so I should be there. But Blowing in the Wind is absolutely wonderful cinephile buddy. One of the many reasons why I really liked Article 15, the movie, was because it starts with Blowing in the Wind, I guess, or a certain Bob Dylan song. Then a hero comes along. Why don't you guys list down your reason for liking the song as well? It would be really nice. Here we have it. Yeah, Invisible String by Taylor. Oh, you know what? There's this song by Taylor Swift, which I really, really like. It goes, I remember tears streaming down your face when I said I'll never let you go. When all the shadows almost killed your light. But it's like something, just keep holding on. You and I will be safe. And something like that. And I really, really like it. Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. That's a very comforting song. I love that song. I also like Rocket Man by Elton John. I do not know why. I love that song. Especially like, hey, I'm a rocket man burning out his fuse up a hair alone, but just nice. Time, Wondrous Time. Oh, that's Safe and Sound. Yes, I love her song Safe and Sound. I think it was from Hunger Games. That's when I first heard it. I haven't seen the Hunger Games. I've heard the playlist though. That's what I kind of do. Sometimes I know the playlist, but I do not know the movie at all. RATM, Killing in the Name of, is lit. What is this song about? Guys, it'll be so nice if you can give some certain description of the songs as well in the... Okay, I am going to... Okay, this is one song, and this is the last song that I'm going to recommend. This is... it was an accidental discovery. And the name of the song is Song I Made Up to Stop Myself from Having a Panic Attack Just Now. And it is by Field Medic and Rich. Absolutely love the song. It's completely on point, on brand. And it's so... It's the ultimate ASMR to calm you down. And he goes, just relax, my friend. You're overthinking. And even if there is a problem, there's a solution. And he sings all of it, so it makes it even better. Remember to breathe. Put your mind at ease. Soon this feeling's going to pass. You will find relief. Just relax, my friend. You're overthinking. And even if there is a problem, there's a solution. Remember to breathe. Put your mind at ease. Soon this feeling is going to pass and you will find relief. And the way he sings it, I think this song got me through my month of dealing with COVID, and nothing could have made it any better. Linkin Park's Numb. Wonderful. Oh, unknown guys here. Oh, you have Mr. Beast ka logo, dude. And oh, choti bachi. Okay. I want to break free. Like Queen has been my absolute... The only thing I think I have against Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, apart from getting the facts wrong, is that it made Queen so popular that it was no longer something which was your secret. Not that Queen was any less famous, but there were songs that became so wild and so famous after the movie, and I kind of felt very protective of them. Yellow by Coldplay. Nice. That's a wonderful song. The Seventh Element. For Invisible String, it just makes me feel secure, and the lyrics just remind me that in the end everything would be together and be okay. Fix You by Coldplay too. Coldplay is a wonderful band that way, right? It's given us so many songs that I think will just make you get out of bed. Fleetwood Mac. All of their songs are soothing to the soul. Nice. And that's just wonderful. Do you also, how many of you, do you guys prefer listening to lyrics, or are you the kind of person who listens to music more? Do you go for the words and the lyrics, or do you prefer to sit and listen to the instrumental side of it? I do not know. I do not know the technical terms, but just, I love Beach House. I literally love Beach House. There was a song I took off from my list because I think I had initially created a list of 50 songs and then I had to sum them down to 10 songs. And because I was getting late for the stream, my initial idea was just 5 songs. But because I was getting late, I couldn't cut down my list. The Stolen Child from the Clan. Ooh, I also like The Stolen Dance. I Want Love, Elton John. Anjali goes for the lyrics. Prasant goes for music. Ishan goes for lyrics. Okay, there are 2 lyrics. I kind of switch between the 2. Sometimes I just go for music. Like Agarwal Anwar, the rap artist Vaibhav recommended last year. I do not understand what he says, but I go for the music there. But okay, so we have 2 lyrics, 1 music. 2 lyrics, 1 music. 1 for music, 2 for lyrics. What about the rest of you guys? And after this, I will be recommending books. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 lyrics, 3 music. Friday, I'm in Love by The Cure. It is a fun, stupid song that makes me smile every time I listen to it. Oh! Okay. I have a next question. I'll just make note of it before I kind of forget it, but okay. Is there anyone who's keeping count for lyrics and music? Sans, it smells like Teen Spirit. I love that song. There's a recommendation I have for you. Smells like Teen Spirit, but 1,000 musicians playing it together. I cried the first time I saw this. Music, lyrics, music, music, lyrics, lyrics, music. I'd say both. Lyrics over music, but both. Oh. I think there are equal votes for the both. Have you read this book named Autopilot? I haven't, Siddharth. Is it good? Siddharth Lama. Nice. Listen American Daydream by Electric Guest. Okay. I am not sure about any stereoscopic music because unfortunately I do not do the recommendations on the channel for music. But lyrics feel too stimulating sometimes. I love Tame Impala, but there's a comment that I would like to address and I would love to know your opinion as well on it. Lyrics feel too stimulating at times. So I recently started sending out regular newsletters. Sometimes I recommend the artist of the week. Then there is a weekly recap that I have for things that I loved during the week. Today I sent my favorite poem. So I've started this new series in newsletter, Poem a Week. And today I recommended Wild Geese. If in case you're anywhere at all interested, do sign up for the newsletter. But there was this artist that I recommended recently. It was a French musician. I do not understand what she sings. I do not. But the way she sings, whatever she's singing, and the music was so overwhelming that I think eventually I had to stop listening to it because I thought it's too depressing. Not depressing, but it's too overwhelming. And do you guys stop listening to something because it feels overwhelming? Do you get overwhelmed by music? I know if I have to behave well and I have to meet a lot of people, I cannot listen to post-rock in the morning. I should listen to something light so that I'm able to snap out of it and just be nice to people around me and not be cold. I can appreciate anything with good music video. Typical Vinayak thing to say. Hi Kazi, I hope you're doing well. Yes. So there's that. Have you read? Okay. Hi Siddharth. It's an interesting take on why we should take breaks from everyday hustle and backs it up with science. A bit heavy with concepts, but a fun read. That's nice. Autopilot. So today, like in the group, in our WhatsApp book club that we have, I asked people to DM me their favorite reads of all time. One of their favorite reads that's under 650 rupees or so, 600 rupees. Because we'll do the polling then for a book a month, and there were so many recommendations that came my way, and I wish you were a part of a book club, Siddharth, because then I would also take up Autopilot. Shabangi listens to sad and listen to depressing stuff and feel worse. I kind of tend to do the opposite. There was a time when I would read Sylvia Plath's journals, and it started having an effect on my mental health, and I had to consciously make a choice that, hey, it's okay if you do not finish this book in a month, in a week, in a year, but you have to set it aside because it's getting to you. And that's what I did. Has my taste in music changed over time? I think Cinephile Buddy, it's just gotten diverse. I couldn't stand Govinda songs. I couldn't listen to Punjabi music. I couldn't listen to rap. I think I now am able to listen to most stuff. I need to find some pace with techno, and I need to find love for heavy metal now. Otherwise, I think I can listen to anything and absolutely everything, and I will have recommendations in most of them. If not recommendations, I would be able to enjoy them. And I think that's a sign of maturity, musical maturity. Such a bad joke. Music starts to remind me of the events in my life at the time I used to listen to particular music, but the events are generally bad. This is Control Alt Escape. What a nice username. But music actually, so there's this one thing I learned. I associate music, of course, with memories. I have stopped associating music with people and memories now. I am okay with associating it to places, but not with memories and people, because I want to continue to listen to music and I want to continue to listen to certain songs over time. And I think when you associate it with something and something goes wrong, you stop listening to it completely, and I do not want to do that because I still want to appreciate the songs the way I do. Amol, newsletters are like unexpected emails that you get. Are you talking about the newsletters I send? Because then I'd really like what you've written. If it's generic, I'll read it out anyway. Newsletters are like unexpected emails that you get when you need it the most, something to divert and engage mind. I hope you're referring to my newsletters. Yola Tango. Oh my god, I used to listen to this artist so much last year. I think I am not confident with the music taste that I have. I am not at all confident about it. But Yola Tango was one artist where I was like, hey, this is something I have to listen to every day when I wake up. And I can't get out of bed if I'm not listening to it. Tame Impala, the Cinematic Orchestra, Sigur Rós, Bon Iver, nice. Metal Rules. Do you guys have any recommendations for metal? Because then maybe that would be a good, nice take for me. I feel my relationship with music is such that every time I'm entering a new phase in my life, there is something I develop a strong inclination for. How many of you are here who cannot listen to, okay, not how many, but do you guys, and please comment it down below because it's just nice to know your thoughts as well. Are you okay with the kind of music you used to listen to when you were a teen? I think there was a phase when I hated the music I used to listen to when I was 13, but like I've reached that stage in my life where I'm like, hey, I'm proud of what I grew up listening to, even though it's very embarrassing at times. Pandemic made me discover Taylor Swift, and she's helped me go. How do you discover Taylor Swift in the pandemic and not before that? I'm not a Swiftie, but I really like Taylor Swift, just so you know. And I do not look down upon people who listen to Taylor Swift. I do look down upon people who mock her music because I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's just light-hearted read. The critical issue is allowing yourself to know what you know. That takes an enormous amount of courage. Hey, well, thank you so much. That's from a newsletter, by the way, guys. There was this book I was talking about, and I'm going to talk about that book even now. Really appreciate your initiatives and experiments. Hey, thanks, UJ. I do sense some judgment, but I make peace with it. Yeah, I kind of hate it when people... I don't hate it. Hate is a strong word. I think I've started having problem with people or with situations where people tend to judge people for listening to something, for liking a certain piece of art, etc. Because I think we've all had such diverse experiences where it's okay to enjoy certain something. And the sooner you learn it, the more you'll be able to discover art that inspires you and makes you feel better about life, or worse, either way. And I think that is what I learned when I started accepting people who listen to all the stuff that I do not like, read all the stuff I do not read, basically endorse the art I do not stand for. I did look down on people who listen to Taylor Swift, and when I fell in love with her, I learned that there should be no judgment for anyone's music taste. Nice. I'm trying to remember who shared the link to Taylor Swift's speech today at NYC in our Chalchitra Music Club. I think it was the music club. I'm trying to remember who did it, because I was like, hey, nice. But I did not get to reply to that message, but it was absolutely wonderful. Made my day. People think you're elitist, don't they? I mean, not really. I haven't faced that until now, except once when I recommended Dear Zari, which was an absolutely brilliant read, but it was about Afghanistani women, and someone said, hey, just get out of your house, you elitist person. You'll see such stories in India as well. And I was like, okay, no hard feelings. It's funny how I still remember that comment, because that was the first borderline hate comment I received. It wasn't hate, but borderline criticism that I received. Until now, everyone's like, hey, what lovely recommendation. And out of the blue, somebody's like, hey, घर से बाहर निकल के देखिए, you'll get similar stories. And I was like, okay, sweet. How can people judge people for art? I listen to 90s Bollywood songs. Nice. I'm an ardent advocate of instrumental music. I often listen to Yuruma's pieces, and my temperament that day fills in the lyrics. Nice. So that's lovely. That's lovely. What about TikTokers? We can look down on... Why? No, we can't. I think it requires a lot of courage to create content, and it requires and there are certain people who are doing such brilliant jobs, creative jobs at making short form content. Short form content is difficult to make. It's difficult to master, and I think it's just absolutely wonderful. Anything that brings you joy. Okay. I'm not going to let's not judge people for what they enjoy, guys. Let anything and everything bring you peace. And I will stick by it unless and until I discover something I absolutely hate. Do you think music is situation specific? I think it is. And before this stream becomes about music, I'm going to circle back on books. And I think at the end of the stream, I'm going to share the recommendations that Chalchitra team had for dealing with anxiety. But yes, my procrastination leads to anxiety, and that anxiety leads to procrastination. But yes. So I'm going to do book recos. I'm particularly excited. Hey, Modern Love Mumbai did not disappoint. Nice. So I'm really looking forward to watching this particular short. I think it's about the story of Thane, which has been written and directed by Dhruv Sehgal. I could be getting the details wrong, but really, really looking forward to watch it over the weekend. And yeah, guys, if you haven't seen it already, do watch it. I've been hearing some amazing things about it. But yes. Yeah, somebody said a crime was solved in the US because of a TikTok video. Yes, absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to talk about books now. And I know like a lot of people who would be probably watching us today are not going to be intense readers. So I'm going to start with what I recommend to everyone on the channel. How can we ever do a stream without recommending The Little Prince? It's absolutely wonderful. I think the relationship that I have with books, and before we get into book recommendations, I already got into it, but before I get into book recommendations, I think I've asked this before, but I want to know, like, everyone who's watching the stream, please note or please comment down what your relationship is with reading, so that we know how intense we have to be for the next segment. And until then, I'll just tell you this: Reccos From The Room, which is the name of the stream today, is going to be, I think, a stream it's going to be a series, and I really look forward to it because I love Reccos from the Hills, the series that Vinayak and I did, and a lot of people from the team helped us do it. We went to this beautiful place in Himachal and we shot a couple of videos from there. It was such a beautiful journey, and I really look forward to Reccos from the Hills season 2.0. But until then, I thought we'd do something Reccos from the Room, and we can find each other on every Thursday night, and we can discuss. We can pick up one word, one emotion, etc., and just share our recommendations about it. So when I say share our recommendations, I just don't mean I'll be doing it. You guys are free to comment down whatever you want in the comments below, because it's a free country and everyone should share their recommendations. But I thought I'd limit it to anxiety today, because that is something I've been really thinking about a lot lately. And yes, so Kazi has just started reading. I had better cover for Little Prince. Okay, I finished Man's Search for Meaning today. Did you like Man's Search for Meaning? I am desperate to find a beautiful cover of that book because I love that book so much so. So Kazi is a beginner. Control Alt Escape is young to reading. He finds reading difficult. I'm just waiting for a few more comments so that we at least have diverse set of people here. But sometimes I want to read all the books in this world, and then there are some days I feel so detached from reading. This is Kanika. Hi Kanika. It's like on and off. Actually, my relationship with reading, my father had a transferable job, so that meant sometimes he was posted in villages, in remote areas where there were not a lot of kids my age, and so my mother kind of imbibed the habit of reading for me. So reading is my safe space. Anytime. And this is what some people who really work closely with me tell me. I am a nightmare to be around when I do not get my me time and I'm not reading. Because it's very important for me to read, otherwise I just feel I'm not making the most of my life. And it doesn't mean finishing a book cover to cover. It just means reading something, feeding yourself new ideas through words that have been embedded in books, ebooks, etc., etc. Shubhangi said, I wish to read daily, but struggle with personal commitments and a full-time job, so finding it hard to make a habit. You know what, Shubhangi? Quick plug-in. I did a video on how to read more. If Akash is watching this, please share a link to that video in the comments. It's read more in 7 minutes, something like that. And somebody commented in our last stream that one of her friends actually started reading after watching that video. I was like, hey, that's a successful video, that means, even if one person was affected by it. But yes. Am I an army kid? No. Do I want to be an army kid? I'm not sure. I never thought about it. 40 pages per day, improving my relationship with book. Nice. That's absolutely wonderful. Ravin, if that's how you correct your name. I hope that's how you connect your name. Correct? Pronounce your name. Sorry. I didn't like Man's Search for Meaning. The book was good, but it was very repetitive. Yes, it is repetitive in certain areas. Won't deny that, but I just think it's wonderful nonetheless. Become a better reader in 7 minutes. Yes, Akash was kind enough to post that link. This is a video that I really worked hard with. And that's why I recommend it everywhere, every chance I get. I don't know what reading means to me. I read because my parents read. I read to impress a particular read I liked. I read when I need more emotions in life. I read to while away time and commute. Hey, this is Chako Babu. Nice. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. I think eventually the relationship that I have with reading is that of survival. And I just feel very comfortable when I read. It's like I'm home. Good books make me want to live life to its fullest. A good book makes me feel like, hey, the world is nice, the world is beautiful. I remember when I read a particular book, and I'm not going to name it because I talk about the series a lot. But there have been times when I've read books that were absolutely beautiful, And I remember thinking to myself, what would I do if not read? And that was solely because I was able to connect with people who've lived on beyond us, before us, years before us, who came thousands of years before us. And I just, as a child, felt it's such a brilliant thing that they perhaps felt the way we did. And sometimes when you've had nobody to talk to in your life, when you have not had friends / people who understand you, and then you pick up a book and it describes the way you feel, it describes the thing that you've been feeling but you do not know how to name it, how to put it into words. It's written there in front of you by somebody who lived 2,200 years before you came. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. I'm sorry about that. Some say a book of simple living. Hey, nice. I'm so glad you liked it. The body keeps the score. Okay, this is a book that I did not have in my list. The body keeps the score. But this is a book that I recently picked up. I picked it up initially, I think last year as well, but I never really paid much attention to it because I think I couldn't connect with it then. And even if I could, I just felt it was a little too heavy for me. Then I started reading it recently for certain reasons. I can't remember now. And I love it. It'll teach you how to be kind to yourself. And I think that is what everyone needs in life. But before I digress, I'm going to come back to recommending all the books that I have here. And I think most of these books are books that you can read if you are a beginner or at whatever stage of life. So I'm going to start with a book that we recommend on the channel, which is like something you need to read if you want to be a part of the book club. Could you recommend books that are relatively cheaper? Is there a way we could access it? I'm not sure if you can. I'm pretty certain most of these books will have second-hand copies. I've also tried to keep in mind that most of these books that are available are under 500 rupees. If not 500, at least 2 of them would be under 1,000 rupees, 2 to 3 of them, but everything I think is under 500 rupees. Vaani, okay. This is Angshu, following you guys for about 5 months now, and it has been a great help in my reading habit. Thank you for such amazing recommendations. Hey, thank you so much. But I'm not consistent in reading. A new show or a movie always comes. No, it's not a problem. But as long as you're trying, that's nice. I feel like I'm missing out on stuff. Hey Anirudh, why do you feel that way? Somebody wrote Catcher in the Rye. Absolutely amazing choice. Incidentally, it's also Ruskin Vaughn's 88th birthday. I really want to get Ruskin Vaughan. I really want to speak with Ruskin Vaughan, but I do not know why. It scares me a little. Moving on. Attached helped me learn more about my partner and overall relationship. Nice, man, and I'm glad it helped. Attached was a book that Vaibhav had recommended on the channel, and it's really nice. So I will start with the recommendations, and here are the books that I think have really helped me slow down in life, put my anxiety in check. They've made me feel comfortable about life, and if possible, I'll also share the particular quotes from each book. I'm going to put down my mic because I think it's creating a lot of noise. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Yeah. So let me know if you guys can still hear me properly. So I'm going to start with the books. So I'm going to start with the books that have helped me deal with anxiety and have helped me calm down. Why I love The Little Prince. It starts with the dedication it has at the beginning. I am not sure where my copy of Little Prince is, but okay. So I have this brilliant copy which was gifted to me by a friend. Absolutely wonderful. And it says to Leon Worth. And now, When you talk about the book, I think it's one of the books that are done right. We're struggling with the book for the month. And I think at least the Chalchitra book club that we have on WhatsApp, a lot of people will collectively agree with me how we are struggling with it. We're still reading it because we want to bitch about the book in the stream next week. So if any of the book club members are watching, they will, Vaibhav, Sumit, anyone, please be ready to kind of have an aggressive conversation about the book, which will be in negative light. But this is one of the books that is brilliantly done right for grown-ups. Brilliant children's book done right for grown-ups. We recommend this to Ankur Wariko. He also read it. So it's kind of nicely validated as well. But what I love about the book is all grown-ups watch children, but only a few of them remember it. And it starts with a story about the author who drew boa constrictor swallowing an elephant, and when he showed it to grown-ups, the grown-ups thought, it's a hat, why should they be scared of the hat? And then he corrected his drawing and scared everyone. And it's just how when we grow up, we forget about the little joys in life. We start focusing on things which will not even be important 10 years down the line, which will be important figuratively, and if you compare it to other things in life, but we forget to enjoy life and we start taking ourselves too seriously. And I think Little Prince is a reminder on why enjoying the small things in life is important, just like the Book of Simple Living is amazing. The next book, I'm sorry, it's me. You're facing so much trouble with my audio. Okay. Please keep on recommending your favorite books also, or what you think about the books that I'm talking, so that there are more recommendations for people who genuinely need to hear as well. The next book that I want to recommend is this book that my friend gifted me on my birthday. On this birthday, my best friend in the whole wide world gifted me this book called The Listening Party. And it actually is a collection of various artists, bands, musicians, and even fans reflecting on 100 albums. Like there are 100 albums, music albums that are covered in the book, and there are different artists, bands, and fans reflecting on them and why they love it. And the reason why I like this book and I read it and I go back to it every time I'm feeling anxious is because a very dear friend gifted it, but also because sometimes it's so wholesome to read the comments that are there, and sometimes you just, my friend, when he gifted me the book, said you have a recommendation for music now, and this book I thought is tailor-made for you. So it's this particular album called Any Human Friend by Marika Hackman, and I actually wrote this song because before I even started making I'm Not Your Man, which was another album, but decided it didn't gel with the record, so I just waited for the right time to release it, etc, etc, etc. But there is this particular line which says, I'm just going to quickly, and the book actually releases behind the scenes photographs and the texts in the album as well, and that really helps me understand the process that went behind making that album, that piece of music. Now, why it distracts me from feeling anxious, or how it distracts me from feeling shitty in the moment, is that I'm able to focus on certain something that is being appreciated, and 8 out of 10 times it's an amazing recommendation. And it also beautifully showcases how sometimes people in their lowest lows are able to create something that's absolutely brilliant. To imagine that they wouldn't do certain something because they were bounded by a particular emotion that they were feeling, it's sad, and it just shows you that how it's okay to feel a certain way if you're able to use it productively or constructively. The next book that I want to recommend is a comfort read. I'll quickly get done with the comfort reads. I go back to Pride and Prejudice a lot because I think this was the first classic, one of the first classics that I ever read. And one of the many reasons why I liked Jane Austen then was because she had a heroine who had a mind of his own, who stood up to people she did not like. And she spoke back to her mother, which was a great thing as a teenager, because otherwise you just come across female characters who are very mute, who are very submissive. And there was this heroine that came along, Elizabeth Bennet, and she was calling the shots. She was saying no to whatever she wanted to, and I just think that's brilliant. The next book that I want to recommend is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And the reason I like this book, there are many reasons, but I just think it's one of those books that grounds you. If you read it well, it will ground you. And 8 out of 10 times.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No. Is my video alright? Please let me know. Am I getting stuck? Sorry. So, the reason why I like Pride and Prejudice is because there was a heroine who would stand out from the rest, and she would do what her mind tells her to do, and there were no regrets. And there was this comfort about being yourself in a crowd of when people were telling you to be somebody else. And I think that's just one thing I liked about Pride and Prejudice. Also, there are 10 different lines which tell you why this is a beautiful rom-com. But if you're able to look beyond that, you will come across this female protagonist who is different from the other female protagonists you usually find in classics when you are growing up. The next book that I want to recommend is Ayodhya on Ayodhya, which is a cinematic odyssey. I should actually recommend less books and less things, so I have content for next time. Just a thought. But Ayodhya on Ayodhya is a brilliant interview that Ayodhya takes of himself, the IT guy, the guy from the IT guy series, the IT guys. Yeah. And he interviews himself. And it just comes across as he's the most self-obsessed person, self-obsessed individual. But overall, the idea of the book, like most of the books that I'm going to recommend, is why are you taking yourself so seriously? And it's okay to have fun and to have laughs at your expense. And I think that's one brilliant book right there. And I do not know why there are not many people talking about this book. It's absolutely amazing and brilliant. The next book that I want to recommend is The School of Life. I've been recommending it a lot. I've recommended it in 2 of my newsletters, and if you knew and if you were subscribed to the newsletters, you would already know of the book and some of my most favorite quotes from the book. But I'll read them out to you because why not? Should I though? There's this one where which is really nice analogy. I've been reading this book not cover to cover, but like I just go to a random page and I read it. And it says, there's this one particular place where he says, we can imagine ourselves as a series of concentric circles. On the outside, we lie all the more obvious things about us, what we do for a living, our age, education, tastes in food, and broad social background. We can usually find plenty of people who recognize us at this level. But deeper in are the circles that contain our more intimate selves, involving feelings about parents, secret fears, daydreams, ambitions that might never be realized, and all that we find beautiful and moving. Though we may long to share the inner circles, too often we seem able to only to hover with those around us, with others around the outer ones, returning home from yet another social gathering with the most sincere parts of us aching for recognition and companionship. And the way he addresses love, religion, self, at work, around people, etc., that will change you. That will make you feel heard. That will make you feel very secure about yourself. And it will just educate you about who you are as an individual. And when I say there are certain books that are just meant to help you live, School of Life is one. I just think there's no checklist for living, but when we have a manual for certain things, life becomes easier. When you have a manual for putting together that cabinet, life became easier for me. When you have a manual for something, it just gets easier. And unfortunately, we do not have a manual about navigating life. But then there are certain books, certain pieces of art that come along and they bring this manual to you, and you're grateful eternally. And School of Life is one such manual about dealing with yourself, about loving yourself, about just being out there on your own. And that's why I would recommend it. Another comfort read that I have is The Whale Suite. I love this book. And I think I've been very vocal about this. But yes, I'm going to address a comment because there's a crying emoji in that comment. The Neta. What a wonderful YouTube handle name. Read One Piece by Oda Ilekiro. It is a manga but can be compared to the Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time. It is now sold almost 600 million volumes. It's a fantasy on pirates and journey to find treasure. If anyone from the book club on WhatsApp is watching this, guys, do consider it for the book a month ka poll that we're doing in the club these days. And if anyone votes for this, maybe we can consider it in the polling. Isha Kelkar. He just wanted to say you guys are... hey, thank you. Please take more fictional books. Got it. Just want to say, oh, nice. Thanks, Isha. That really means a lot. You guys, thanks. This kind of brings me joy. Now, the next book, and it's the second last book that I'm going to recommend today. Somebody has recommended The Book of Life by J. Krishnamurti. Nice. Moving on, I'm only going to do like 3 movies, 3 music pieces, 3 TV shows, etc., etc. The next book that I want to recommend is that I'm going to vote for in this poll. It's called Flights by Olga Tokarczuk. Do not know how to pronounce her name or his name. So Flight is a novel about travel in the 21st century. And it has super short essays that are there. And what I really like about the book is that no matter who picks it up, if you like traveling, and even if you don't, you feel anxious, you're going to find yourself in these pages. And I think this book has the capability of becoming a great personal comfort read for a lot of us. But because it suits everyone, there might be areas in the book that you might not like, where you might just want to skim or skip, which is absolutely okay according to me. Okay, but one of my favorite quotes from the book is that describing something is like using it. It destroys. The colors wear off, the corners lose their definition, and in the end, what's been described begins to fade, to disappear. This applies most of all to places. Enormous damage has been done by travel literature, a veritable scourge, an epidemic. Guidebooks have conclusively ruined the greater part of the planet, published in editions numbering in the millions. In many languages, they've debilitated places, pinning them down and naming them, blurring their contours. Even I, in my youthful naivety, once took a shot at the description of places. But when I would go back to those descriptions later, when I tried to take a deep breath and allow their intense presence to choke me up all over again, when I tried to listen in on their murmurings, I was always in for a shock. The truth is terrible. Describing is destroying. And I might not certainly agree with it, but flights will bring you home. Flights will hand you out a bottle of water in the temperature that you want it to be. And I think that is the beauty of the Book of Lights. And yeah, it's going to be one of the nominations for the next A Book a Month. So do vote for it when I post the poll on Instagram and on YouTube and on Twitter and everywhere else. And now I'll come to the last book. So if you've heard of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, which I'm pronouncing it absolutely incorrectly, the guy who wrote The Little Prince. So he's also written Wind, Sand and Stars, which I'm currently in the process of reading. And the reason why I did not want to recommend The Little Prince was because there was this other book that I wanted to recommend of him. I gifted myself this book in 2018, the Valentine's of 2018, 14th Feb 2018. I gifted myself this brilliant book. It's a guide for grown-ups, and it has a collection from the collected works of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Please do not. I've butchered his name, I know. So there are multiple quotes here, and they've divided it into happiness, friendship, love, fortitude, responsibility, and what is essential. So you can go to a random page and it will have a quote. And I simply love it. And there's this one particular line that I stayed with. So I won't go to the line that I have. I'll go to a page number that you guys say. From 1 to 81. And the person who comments third, I'll pick that up. Okay, wait, nobody will comment now, because everyone would want to be third. I'll choose a random number to pick from. Just comment on a page from 1 to 81 and I'll read a quote from that page. And he's also Nose from the Underground. Sweet. Don't recommend One Piece anime. It's already 1,000 episode reading and it's better at its own pace. True. Guide for Grown-Ups is a brilliant book, I believe. And I think they don't sell it in India. They instead choose to sell it. I mean, it's eventually shipped from outside. Is my video creating a problem? I hope not, but yeah. Okay, so now that we have the numbers, I'll wait for I'll just try it. Just comment on the numbers, guys. I'll pick up a random number so that it becomes interesting for me also. But I'll pick up number 13 maybe. So we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 56, and it's Ankshu Majumdar has chosen it, and it's 56. Oh. The one thing that matters is the effort, and it's from the book The Wisdom of the Stance. And he says the one thing that matters is the effort. It continues, whereas the end to be attained is but an illusion of the climber. As he fares on and on from crest to crest, and once the goal is reached, it has no meaning. Nice. So, the one thing that matters is the effort. Because once you achieve it, it doesn't amount to the same pleasure that you thought you'll have it when you wanted it. But 56 is nice. And it's just one of the books that I turn to whenever I'm feeling uncertain in life. It's the one book that I go back to every time I feel unhappy, and I just want a recommendation in terms of quotes. And this book almost never disappoints. Now, I think that's a whole wrap of my recommendations that I had on dealing with anxiety, on things that I do while dealing with anxiety. Here are a few honorary mentions though. I take a nap, and I eat a lot, and I try to work out, which doesn't happen because I'm too stressed to work out. So I decide to go for walks, and walks almost always help. I call up the friends that I love, and I share it with them at times. And if that also fails, I just sometimes give in to crying. But there is this one, I want to share this playlist with you as well. If Akash, you're watching this, I'm going to share this playlist that Hindol shared with me that he has for dealing with anxiety. And he said that usually songs that have good memories attached with them help. So I shared the songs that I loved with you some time ago, and Hindol shared his playlist with me, and I want to share it all with you guys. If you're on Spotify, you're going to love it because it's on Spotify, and it has all the wonderful songs from Guide to Namkeen to Panch Se Pancham. Yeah, I hope I'm getting the name right. And I just think it's absolutely nice of Hindol to share the playlist. And if you're watching Hindol, thank you so much for this. I also asked a lot of people in the core team if there are any, recommendations that they have. And they pitched in a lot of, I think, TV series and movies. And I honorary mention for Samraj because he gave the most recommendations. And he recommended Undone, and it has 2 seasons on Amazon Prime, and it's written by the creator of BoJack, Raphael Bob Waxberg. So do watch it. Then there is this TV series / movie. Oh wait, and then he's recommended 8th Grade, which is on Netflix, and it's directed by Bo Burnham. And then there is this movie that I absolutely love as well. It's The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and it stars Adam Scott, by the way, so brilliant. And then you have The King's Speech, and he says if you keep aside the British monarchical setting, it is a nice story about personal struggles, about stage fear, anxiety, stuttering, etc. And Vinayak then also recommended, I love watching Restoration. At this point I'm basically reading out the core team messages for you guys. I love watching Restoration and deep clean videos on YouTube, and like the ones where they clean and polish old antique knives and watches and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I love the carpet ones and the floor ones. Yeah. And there were a couple of YouTube channels that were recommended as well, but we'll jump to that later. But yeah, basically, more or less, there were all these songs. And yes, Hindol has shared this recommendation with us. And Hindol's playlist is something that Akash has put down in the comments as well. So I hope this is helpful. Does anyone else revisit old conversations? I find it a great way to escape from the present and anger. I don't. I cringe when I read old conversations. It's now that I've started revising and revisiting the streams. Otherwise, I just couldn't stand myself in the streams. I would point out the smallest things. Hey, why did I have to smile like that? Why did I have to talk like that? And then after some time I realized, hey, it's becoming very robotic. So now I just, I go back to it now, but I just try not to be that critical with me. So yes, that was what the Chalchitra team had also recommended, and I hope you guys like it. Do let me know once the stream is over in the comments, what was your favorite part of the stream? There are 67 people watching it. If all of you could, I would love that there are at least 50 comments tomorrow when I wake up on the parts of the stream that really worked for you, because it'll help me streamline everything more. And I think one thing that I could have done better in this stream was that I could have reduced my recommendations, because it might be better and more helpful. But let me know what you want me to take up. Like, I want to take up literal words, recommendations on doors, recommendations on windows, recommendations on dealing with stage fear, on anything that I struggle with as well. And if you guys have any recommendations, do let me know. What do you guys do when you're feeling anxious? Do you struggle with anxiety? I think one of the many things that I want to achieve with Reccos From The Room is also talk about things that I do not feel comfortable about, and create a space where we can discuss and talk about absolutely anything, and use art as a way to comfort ourselves and just be there. Sometimes something that helps me is dipping my face in cold water for 2 to 5 minutes. You know what, that's absolutely amazing for skin as well. But Sahil has said there are various versions of The Little Prince, which book to buy. So there are multiple prints of The Little Prince, but you can buy whatever you want to. Start with the cheapest book. I've gifted that book to so many people in my life, The Little Prince, and slowly build up your collection of The Little Prince. That is what I am doing for myself now. Bhavna said, what out of context question, but this is a very important question, and I think we should create a separate video on this as well. What is the difference between a book a month with Vaani versus the book club? So I'll try and define it to you in the brightest way possible, and I would try to be to the point. So first is a book a month with Vaani. That is one book. So a book a month with Vaani is a place where I pick up a book each month, and recently we've been trying to be very democratic with the whole process, so we have polls and everything. But a book a month with Vaani is a space where I pick up a book each month, and as a community we try to read it together, and at the end of each month we have a discussion. The reason why I started it was because I wanted to share my reading journey with you, and I also wanted that we become reading buddies in the process. There are certain people who just function well when there is a buddy, and I wanted to be that buddy, and I wanted us to become buddies and read together. And it's been working out really well for certain people. So overall in a year we read 12 books together, which I think is absolutely amazing. Next is the book club. The book club is on WhatsApp. WhatsApp book club is for our patrons, gladiators and godfathers. They have taken a YouTube membership or a patron membership of Chalchitra Talks, and through that they're added to various groups that we have on WhatsApp. WhatsApp book club being one of them. And everyone who's in the WhatsApp book club is kind of is connected with me, is connected with the team of Chalchitra Talks. We talk about books, we discuss ideas. And if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow us on Chalchitra Talks on Instagram, you would see the kind of conversations we have in the book club, where we're constantly critiquing things, we're recommending things to each other, we're discussing books, we are sharing random bits that are actually very fun. So if you want to take your relationship to the next level with me, this is like swiping right and left on streams. But if you want to take this conversation that we're having to the next level, make it a little more intimate, you can join the book club that we have. The link will be in the description. And then there are these Thursday streams which I do, which is just something that I really like doing with all of you, because it just makes me feel like we have a really strong community where we are there for each other. And with the recent Reccos From The Room series, I want it to be a place where we can talk about anything absolutely. So there are these 3 different things that we have at the moment. So what tips would you give for someone to buy a bookshelf or bookshelves? Keep in mind that won't be the only bookshelf that you own. Multiple bookshelves hopefully will be in your future. So when you buy a bookshelf, just know you can have copies or just have furniture that matches. It can be coordinated well, nothing else. Go ahead and buy all the bookshelves in the world that you want to. Can we include Hindi books in the Reccos? We can definitely. I want everyone. I want the books that I recommend. I want the things that I recommend to be very accessible. I remember the first book that I picked up for a book a month was Submarine by Jordan Thorne, and it's a brilliant book. Has been adapted into a brilliant movie, but a lot of people couldn't be a part of it because it wasn't available for everyone. So every time I pick up a book, my whole agenda and my whole motive is that it's accessible for everyone, from the pricing point of view and even from the accessibility point of view. And therefore, the only reason why I recommend Hindi is because even though I speak Hindi decently well. I understand Hindi. I'm able to read Hindi. There are so many people amongst us who that's not their first language. And I want something that just connects all of us. And majority of the people who are connected with me are very comfortable or are remotely comfortable in English. And I think that becomes the primary motive of why I communicate in English more than in Hindi. And why I recommend and pick up books that are translated into English or are purely they were written in English. And I think that is something that's very important as a community as well to understand, because it just helps us connect. And well, yeah, I hope that answered your question, Rajat. Did I draw anything? I've been working on it, but I'm a terrible artist. Just suck at it. But I've been trying my hand at it. I hope one day Disha can give me classes in art, and I too can make a video where I am able to draw something at the end of the and show you something that's actually, if not as beautiful as Disha's, like slightly there, at least 10th of what Disha drew in her lovely video. But yes. Bhavna is jumping right into the book club. Nice. So while we're speaking, there's a discussion going on in the book club as well. But yes, that is mostly it, guys. I hope you liked today's session. Let me know what you think about the stream in the comments after the stream is done. And let me know what your favorite parts were. That's silly. But let me know what you liked about the stream. Let me know the topics that you have in mind that we can pick up for the next stream. Let me know your recommendations as well. And I hope the stream brought you, was able to bring you some, that's silly. And I hope this stream was able to bring little joy, if nothing else, to you and your life. And I'll see you guys tomorrow or the day after tomorrow on the VM Square stream. And thank you for joining, guys. And I had a lovely time, and I hope you guys had it as well. Do share your recommendations in the comments once the stream is done. And let me know if there is anything else you'd like me to talk about. And yes, I'll see you guys. Have a good night and amazing Thursday evening and a